Yo, YouTube, what's up with your boy? Sports and Fitness Rants. I'm back, guys. Click that like button. Subscribe to my channel. What's up, y'all? Welcome back, guys. Welcome back. Got another great video for you guys today, as usual. You guys know the deal on this channel. It's all about setting the record straight, stopping the lies, stopping the narratives, stopping them from rewriting the history. And in this video, man, we're going to talk about, once again, we must set the record straight on this fool, Isiah Thomas, because he continues to make comments and he continues to talk about Scottie Pippen. And we're going to talk about it in this video because he talks about Scottie Pippen way more than he does any of his other teammates, especially someone like a Joe Dumars. And we're going to talk about Joe Dumars in this video and how Isiah Thomas should be spending a lot of his time talking about Joe Dumars and thanking Joe Dumars and giving Joe Dumars his credit and his props, his just due for all the things he did for Isiah Thomas throughout his career, all the help that he gave Isiah Thomas throughout his career and what he meant to Isiah Thomas and the Detroit Pistons and their back-to-back championships. We're going to talk about this video because he talks about Scottie Pippen so much. Did Scottie Pippen play on the Detroit Pistons? I forget here, man. This guy got nothing else better to do than continue to talk about Scottie Pippen and once again contradict all the stuff that he said about Scottie Pippen in the past. And this way he loses his credibility. He looks like a straight fool, man. We're going to talk about this in this video. And I want to thank you guys, everyone across the world, everyone across the states has been supporting my channel. Once again, guys, I am truly, truly humbled by all the support, man. For real. All the true basketball fans are standing up, man. Like I said, guys, it means a lot. You guys sharing your stories with me, man. Subscribing, liking the videos. Like I said, the comments you guys leave, man. Thank you very much, guys. Shout out to everybody in the membership. And you guys know what to do, man. Turn the volume all the way up. Hit that play button. Remember, these videos are for educational purposes. And let's roll. So, yes, guys, like I said, man, I saw some people doing some videos on some comments that Isiah Thomas made about Scottie Pippen leading the Chicago Bulls to a championship, and the Bulls could have won a championship without Michael Jordan and blah, 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 man. My goodness. So we must set the record straight once again. But in this video, what we want to highlight and what we really want to talk about and expose as it pertains to Isiah Thomas is the fact that this man does not shut up about Michael Jordan and he doesn't shut up about Scottie Pippen. He continues to bring up Scottie Pippen as if Scottie Pippen was his teammate. He never brings up any of his teammates. I'm telling you guys right now, Isiah Thomas is a certified dirtbag, man. This dude only thinks it was him. That's all he ever talks about is him. What he did. Oh, I beat Michael Jordan. I beat Larry Bird. I beat Magic Johnson. Blah, 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 man. These are the only things he talks about. What he did for Detroit Pistons. What he did for the championship teams. It was him. That's all you ever hear from Isiah Thomas. And he's always bringing up Scottie Pippen for some reason. For some reason, he continues to talk about Scottie Pippen. And once again, this is not to big up Scottie Pippen and to put some respect or some shine on Scottie Pippen. No. Don't get it mistaken, my friends. This man is very disingenuous. All this is another attempt to tear down Michael Jordan's legacy, to take away from Michael Jordan's greatness by making it, once again, trying to make you believe that Michael Jordan had more help than anyone else in history, or that Michael Jordan was the only player that played with great players or had any kind of help. It's only Michael Jordan. Once again, taking away from Isiah Thomas's own teammates. Isiah Thomas never brings up his teammates, especially someone like a Joe Dumars. Do you ever hear Isiah Thomas bring up Joe Dumars' name? Do you ever hear him talk about Joe Dumars and what Joe Dumars could have done on the Detroit Pistons without Isiah Thomas there? You ever hear these things? I never hear Isiah Thomas bring up Joe Dumars. I never hear him bring up any of these guys that he played with on the Detroit Pistons over those years that they were winning championships. He never brings up anyone else. All he'll say is me. What he did. He beat this guy. He beat that guy. But as it pertains to Michael Jordan, he had Scottie Pippen. And Scottie Pippen's so great that Scottie Pippen could have led the Bulls to a championship, even though he never did that. Scottie Pippen had an opportunity to do that. He could have led the Bulls in 94. He could have also led the Bulls to a championship in 1995 with Michael Jordan and Tony Kukoc there and the other players, right? All the guys that they brought in 94 when Michael Jordan left, when Michael Jordan came back in 95, Scottie Pippen, all those guys were there. How come Scottie Pippen didn't lead the Bulls to a championship that year? And I've done a video on this before. Where was Scottie Pippen in the 1995 Eastern Conference second round against the Orlando Magic? Where was Scottie Pippen to carry Michael Jordan, to lead Michael Jordan, to really lead Michael Jordan and say, hey, Mike, you lean on me. I got us in this round. I got us this time, man. You just came back. You a little rusty. I got this. Scottie Pippen wasn't there. He couldn't do it, Isiah Thomas. Isiah Thomas don't talk about these things. All they want to do is talk about the 94 season and the Bulls only winning a couple of less games than when Michael Jordan was there. But once again, the Chicago Bulls were bounced out in the second round by a New York Knicks team that Michael Jordan never lost to in the postseason. The Chicago Bulls never lost to the New York Knicks in the playoffs with Michael Jordan on the team, guys. Not one time. I believe he's like 4-0 or 5-0 against the Knicks in the postseason in his career. Never lost to them. But when he left, the Knicks somehow managed to beat the Chicago Bulls. Right? We all remember Scottie Pippen not wanting to enter the game. We remember these things. These are the facts, ladies and gentlemen. These are things that Isiah Thomas doesn't want to talk about. All he wants to do is bring up Scottie Pippen as if Scottie Pippen is the greatest player to ever play with another superstar. This is what he wants you to believe, that Michael Jordan somehow had more help than anyone else. It doesn't make any sense. Let's think about Joe Dumars, who Isiah Thomas never brings up, never talks about Joe Dumars, never shouts out Joe Dumars and talks about the things that Joe Dumars did for him and the Detroit Pistons and those championship teams. Because wasn't it, in fact, Joe Dumars who won the Finals MVP in 1989, ladies and gentlemen? That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Joe Dumars won a Finals MVP playing alongside Isiah Thomas, Dennis Rodman, Bill Laimbeer, Vinny the Microwave Johnson, right? John Sally, James Edwards, all these guys on the Detroit Pistons, right? In fact, the first championship that they won, it was Joe Dumars who was the Finals MVP, not Isiah Thomas. I don't ever remember Scottie Pippen winning a Finals MVP, and he had 6 opportunities to win a Finals MVP, Scottie Pippen, never won one. Meanwhile, Joe Dumars, right, won the first Finals MVP for the Detroit Pistons during that time that they won those back-to-back championships. It was Joe Dumars who won the Finals MVP, averaging 27 points a game in the 1989 NBA Finals. 27 points a game. Scottie Pippen's never sniffed 27 points a game in an NBA Finals. I believe the highest points per game for Scottie Pippen in the Finals, I believe, was 1993 at 22 points a game. So Joe Dumars averaged 27 points a game in those finals, along with 6 assists, and won the Finals MVP. And the Detroit Pistons swept the Los Angeles Lakers 4-0. Not to mention Joe Dumars' elite-level defense, once again helping Isiah Thomas in the backcourt, locking down players on the defensive end. Joe Dumars, one of the elite wing defensive players of his era, of all time. 5-time All-Defender, going up against other great defensive players of that era. So the 5 times All-Defensive is really impressive when you think about the players that played in that era at the guard position. The guys like Sidney Moncrief, the Michael Jordans, the John Stocktons, the Gary Paytons, the Alvin Robertsons, the Michael Coopers. All of these guys winning on defensive teams from the mid to late 80s into those early 90s. So Joe Dumars, once again, one of the elite defensive wings, not to mention averaging 27 points a game at the same time in the finals. In those finals, Joe Dumars had back-to-back 30-point games. In Game 2 and in Game 3, he scored 30-plus points. Scottie Pippen has scored 30-plus points in the NBA Finals, guys, one time in his career. One time. I believe Joe Dumars has done it 3 times in his career. Over 30-plus points a game. So, once again, Joe Dumars not getting any credit from Isiah Thomas. Isiah Thomas is busy talking about Scottie Pippen and what Scottie Pippen could have done without Michael Jordan. What he could have done. What he could have done. Not what he did do with Michael Jordan. He never won a Finals MVP. He never led the Chicago Bulls in scoring in an NBA Finals. Never did those things. Joe Dumars did that. Does anybody think of Joe Dumars as an elite level scorer? But somehow, some way, Joe Dumars was able to average 27 points a game, lead the Pistons in scoring in the finals. They want you to believe now that Scottie Pippen was this crazy all-world scorer. Never once led the Bulls in scoring in any of those playoff series. Never once, guys. Not one single time. But they'll tell you that he was a scorer more so than Joe Dumars. Never averaged 27 points a game in NBA Finals. Never averaged more than 22 points a game in NBA Finals. And only went over 30 points one time in NBA Finals. 1992, Game 6. He scored 32 points in that game. That's probably perhaps his best NBA Finals performance. And that was in his first NBA Finals, guys. Never once again went over 30 points in NBA Finals, guys. Never once. Joe Dumars did it 3 times in an NBA Finals. Capturing an NBA Finals MVP in 1989 ahead of someone like Isiah Thomas. Isiah Thomas won't talk about that, though. He won't bring up Joe Dumars in the elite two-way play of Joe Dumars and all the pressure that Joe Dumars took off of someone like Isiah Thomas. Because it was Joe Dumars guarding Michael Jordan out there. Not Isiah Thomas. It was Joe Dumars in the trenches against Michael Jordan, along with Dennis Rodman. But Isiah Thomas wants to bring up what Scottie Pippen could have done, what he could have done. Joe Dumars actually won a Finals MVP. He actually did that. He averaged 27 points a game. He dropped 30-plus in back-to-back games. Scottie Pippen never did that. And it's not to say that Scottie Pippen wasn't great in his own right in the Finals. Once again, Scottie Pippen's an all-time great player. But so was Joe Dumars. And other players have played with great players in NBA's history. This is why other players have been known and respected for stepping up when it mattered most. You think about someone like a Tony Parker in 2007 NBA Finals, raising his level of play up above his level, leading his team in scoring, raising his average, right? This is what these guys have done in NBA Finals over the years. You think about these guys, like I said, raising their level of play and capturing a Finals MVP. You think about James Worthy in the 1988 NBA Finals, right? Getting a triple-double in Game 7, raising his level of play, earning a Finals MVP. This is what happens, guys. But Isiah Thomas wants you to believe that only Michael Jordan had help. Only Michael Jordan. Kevin McHale never played with Larry Bird. Could Kevin McHale have led the Celtics to a championship with everyone else on that team except for Larry Bird? They only say these things about Michael Jordan and Isiah Thomas. Could the Detroit Pistons have won a championship without Isiah Thomas and Joe Dumars leading the way? Would Isiah Thomas ever say something like that? Would he ever say, hey, the Lakers could have won a championship without Magic Johnson if they had James Worthy and Byron Scott, right? And Kareem Abdul-Jabbar still there? No one's saying these things. Could Tony Parker and Manu Ginobili have led the Spurs to a championship? Does Kobe Bryant and Shaquille O'Neal win 3 in a row without each other? No one else had help. Does Bill Russell and the Celtics win all those championships without Bob Cousy? Or without John Havlicek? Or without Sam Jones? Do they win those championships without Bill Russell? How come Michael Jordan's the only one Isiah Thomas worried about? How come Scottie Pippen's the only guy he's over talking about? He got no energy for Joe Dumars. He don't want to say nothing about Joe Dumars. It's, oh, Scottie Pippen could have done this. Oh, Scottie Pippen was a great player. Scottie Pippen was a better defensive player than Mike Jordan. This is what Isiah Thomas is saying now. But if you go back 5-10 years ago, then you listen to sound bites of Isiah Thomas. It was Isiah Thomas that was on open court, that was talking with guys like Reggie Miller and Steve Smith and some of these other players. I can't remember if Shaq might have been on there. There was a bunch of guys on open court, right? And they were talking about all these different players. And they brought the dream team. And it was Isiah Thomas who said, who the hell is Scottie Pippen to not want me on the dream team? He's not on my level. But all of a sudden now, Scottie Pippen is leading the Bulls to our championships without Michael Jordan. Without Michael Jordan. So let me get this straight. Isiah Thomas, all these other fools out here, they want you to believe that Michael Jordan could never win a championship without Scottie Pippen. But Scottie Pippen could somehow win a championship without Michael Jordan. This is what Isiah Thomas wants you to believe. These are the kinds of nonsensical things that they say. All these hypotheticals. Whatever happened? See, people want to act and make as if when Michael Jordan left the Bulls in 98 and retired, that Scottie Pippen retired too. No, he did not. Scottie Pippen played several more seasons after Michael Jordan left after the 98 season, guys. And Scottie Pippen did not win a championship. He did not lead a team to a championship. And in fact, he had a great opportunity on Portland, but he didn't make it happen. There's the evidence. If Scottie Pippen could have done this, he could have done that. He could have, would have, could have, should have. He didn't do any of that stuff. He had many opportunities to lead a team, to lead Michael Jordan in 95, but he never did it. But Isiah Thomas wants to tell you he could have won this. He could have won a championship without Michael Jordan. And Joe Dumars could have won without you, Isiah Thomas. The Pistons could have won without you. Joe Dumars won a Finals MVP before you did. Scottie Pippen's still looking for that Finals MVP. Never sniffed one. Never averaged 27 points a game like Joe Dumars did in NBA Finals while playing elite level defense like that. Never led the Bulls in scoring in an NBA Finals. Joe Dumars did that. But Isiah Thomas won't talk about Joe Dumars and what he did. It's always about what he did. Oh, I beat Michael Jordan. Dude, you weren't even guarding Michael Jordan. Why don't you give some props to the guys that were in the trenches doing the dirty work? The Joe Dumars, the Dennis Rodmans. You don't ever want to talk about these other guys. The Detroit Pistons were 8-9 guys deep, man. But Isiah Thomas makes it seem like he was out there leading a bunch of bums, a bunch of guys that were also Rands or journeymen. These are legit players. Joe Dumars is a legit Hall of Famer. Dennis Rodman is a legit Hall of Famer. Bill Laimbeer is a borderline Hall of Famer. Bill Laimbeer, guys, in the 1990 NBA Finals, tied or set a record at that time in NBA's history for most three-pointers in the first half of an NBA Finals. Remember Michael Jordan 92? When he hit all those threes in the first half, he tied Bill Laimbeer. I believe it was Bill Laimbeer and Michael Cooper, if I remember correctly, that all shared that record at that time. Bill Laimbeer, guys, played with Isiah Thomas on the Detroit Pistons. He was a 6'10" center out there knocking down three-pointers and playing solid defense and rebounding the basketball. But Isiah Thomas wants you to believe he was out there just carrying the Pistons. It was him out there with some nonsense guys. Vinny the Microwave Johnson was one of the great six men of that era. You had role players, John Sally, James Edwards. I mean, you had a legendary head coach, Chuck Daly, who Isiah Thomas never mentions. He'll bring up Phil Jackson, all these other coaches, but he won't bring up Chuck Daly. Oh, Michael Jordan had Phil Jackson. Dude, you had Chuck Daly, the dude who coached the Dream Team without calling a single timeout. You didn't win and make the playoffs until Chuck Daly got there. Isiah Thomas don't talk about that. All this energy for Scottie Pippen and what Scottie Pippen could have done. He didn't do it. Why don't you talk about what Joe Dumars actually did do for you? It was Isiah Thomas, the goofball, who threw that pass away in Game 5 against the Boston Celtics. Right when they were up by 1, he threw that inbounds pass, that bonehead play that Larry Bird stole and passed to Dennis Johnson. That was Isiah Thomas who made that bonehead play. Not Joe Dumars. Isiah Thomas. Scottie Pippen had a lot of plays like that on the Chicago Bulls. Missing free throws, being taken out of games, right? Being mentally weak, shrinking before the moment. But he wants to talk about Scottie Pippen. But he said Scottie Pippen's not his level to not want him on the Dream Team. Who was Scottie Pippen? He's nobody. This is the same Isiah Thomas that said that Grant Hill was greater than Scottie Pippen. That Scottie Pippen couldn't carry the NBA, the league, like Grant Hill could. This is what Isiah Thomas was saying, guys. Just what, 10, 15 years ago. Now, all of a sudden now, he's trying to make Michael Jordan look bad. Once again, you're being disingenuous, and we can all see through this. If you cannot see through Isiah Thomas by now, guys, then you are lost. And once again, you're part of the problem. Because Isiah Thomas has no integrity, and he has no credibility. And don't know and give a damn about what Isiah Thomas has as it relates to Michael Jordan, the Chicago Bulls, the rivalry, Scottie Pippen. I don't want to hear it. If he wants to talk X's and O's, by all means, Isiah Thomas, go ahead and knock yourself out. If you want to talk about other players, then by all means, man. But anything that has to do with Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, the Bulls, the Pistons, the whole ride, no one want to listen to Isiah Thomas, man. He's a straight clown. He's exposed himself years ago, and once again, he continues to expose himself and show that he cares nothing about integrity, honor, or being a classy individual. And these comments that he makes about Scottie Pippen leading the Bulls to a championship, when did Scottie Pippen do this? He never even led them to a finals. Never once went to an NBA finals without Michael Jordan. I'm so tired of people acting as if Scottie Pippen won these championships without Michael Jordan. No, Michael Jordan never won without Scottie Pippen, and Scottie Pippen never won without Michael Jordan, man. Stop the nonsense. You sound stupid, Isiah Thomas, like you most of the time like you do as it relates to Michael Jordan and these kinds of things. Go listen to some of the things Isiah Thomas has said about Scottie Pippen in the past, guys. He sounds like a complete hypocrite right now and expose himself as once again not standing on anything These guys flip-flop all over the place. Scottie Pippen ain't leading no team a damn place. He was never a leader like that. He was never a number one guy. Never was. Never. And he never proved that he could be. Never did. Like I said, where was he in 94? Where was he in 95? To lead Michael Jordan. To show, hey, Mike, you can lean on me. I got this. I'm going to lead us. Never did it. He didn't lead the Portland Trail Blazers in 2000. Didn't lead them. None of this stuff. Didn't lead them in 2001. Where was he on the Rockets in 1999? Nowhere. Nowhere. Scottie Pippen played many years, guys, after Michael Jordan left, and he did nothing. Isiah Thomas, you sound ridiculous as usual. A lot of these guys, once again, exposing themselves and highlighting. Just because you played in the NBA doesn't mean that you stand on integrity, you have any kind of honor, or you're a classy person, or you're going to be honest. Very disingenuous comments from Isiah Thomas. Always worried about Scottie Pippen. Why don't he ever talk about anybody else's teammates? He don't want to talk about Kevin McHale? He got no energy for Kevin McHale and the greatness of Kevin McHale and what he did and what he meant for Larry Bird and the Boston Celtics all the years. He got no energy for that. No energy for the Manu Ginobili's or Tony Parker's and what they meant for someone like a Tim Duncan or David Robinson or Kawhi Leonard. No energy to talk about Dwayne Wade and what he meant for LeBron James and helping LeBron James figure out how to win and win his first championship. No energy for that. No. Or Anthony Davis or what Chris Bosh sacrificed to help LeBron James win. He got no energy to talk about any of these things. He don't want to talk about the help that Bill Russell played with, or how Will Chamberlain and Jerry West helped each other out and win a championship in LA. He don't want to talk about none of this stuff. No, it's only Michael Jordan, right? Dr. J didn't have Moses Malone and vice versa. Magic didn't have Kareem, and Kareem didn't have Magic. Kareem didn't have help from Oscar Robertson. I mean, like, George Mikan didn't have Vern Mickelson there. Like, all the great teams, the dynasties, the great players that have won championships, they all had help. Steph Curry didn't have Kevin Durant. Durant didn't need Steph Curry. He didn't have Klay Thompson or Draymond Green there to help him. Isiah Thomas, you didn't have Dennis Rodman, a Joe Dumars there, a Bill Laimbeer, a Chuck Daly. None of these teams had players, then had coaches. It's only Michael Jordan who was winning with help. And only his help could have won without him. But no one else could have won without them. So Michael Jordan needed Scottie Pippen to win, but apparently Scottie Pippen did not need Michael Jordan to win. He could have won without Michael Jordan. You sound stupid as hell, Isiah Thomas. You guys know the deal, man. I'll catch you guys on the next one.